YouTube is hard right now, man.
Yeah, YouTube is a very hard thing. For me, like, and I don't know about you, but subscribers are dying. The value of a subscriber is not as much. It's being inflated. But for me, YouTube is just a billboard. It kind of pushes to what matters to me. It pushes to my original music, pushes to my Spotify, it pushes to if I play a show. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the reason I still do it. What do you think about that?
For me, it's for the love of the game. Like, I love creating videos. I love the process of it.
Yeah.
And for me, my main thing is I just love recording, and so any platform that can have this song and people can access it, it's just another platform.
Yeah.
And it's not about the money, and it's not about views. It used to be completely about that.
Right.
And it's just, I mean, to be honest with you, man, like I have 2 million subscribers plus.
Right.
And I put out a video and it got 20,000 views, and I was like, where'd everybody go?
Is that 1%?
Like, it's like, okay, but yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough for a minute. It was tough for a minute to see this downtrend, but then I was like, then Spotify kicked in. And I was like, man, if people only knew.
One thing I've noticed, when people ask me about what I do, and I typically don't even mention YouTube. Like, actually, when I started making YouTube videos, I hid it from my friends. Like, I wouldn't share it on Facebook. It was only after my things started blowing up that people saw and knew what I did. But now, if I tell someone I do music on YouTube, they kind of like give me a dumb look. Like, what is your feelings about that? What do people say to you?
Well, I think there's a lot of like vloggers and makeup people and these different like genres of YouTube that have validified the platform. And so for me, like someone's like, "Oh, so what do you do with music?" I'm like, "I'm a full-time YouTuber." They're like, "Wait, what?"
Do you tell them that?
Yeah, I just
awesome.
own it. I just own it. When I ask Landon what he does, he says,
"I work in marketing." It's just easier because then you don't have to be like, "What's your real job?" And be like, "Actually, YouTube's my job."
I'm proud of it, man. Like, it's exciting because we're one of the few, and when I recognized, I think it was after I got the offer, when I was like, I should be proud of this.
Yeah.
Because this is amazing.
Right.
So when people ask me, like, yeah, I'm a full-time YouTuber, like, well, what do you do? I'm like, well, I do some covers and some originals and make videos, and, you know, I just kind of get to do whatever I want to do.
And then they're like, "What restaurant do you work at?" You know?
That's for musicians, though.
I know.
If you say you're a musician, they're like, ooh, I'm sorry, here's $20.
Yeah, no, for real.
But if you say you're YouTube, they're like, what does that even mean? I'm like, you have no idea.
So do you do anything to market your music outside of YouTube?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. What's that look like?
It's so daunting.
Yeah.
It's hard. Because everything is crowded these days.
So crowded.
I used to like post something, get like 10,000 likes. I post something now, it's like 3,500. I'm like, well, at least they're still there.
It's because like Facebook, they want to charge you to push to the people who follow you.
Yes. Have you experimented with the promoted posts?
I used to, but I just don't care anymore.
I
just don't.
I love it.
You know, like
I relate so hard too.
Like, and the thing that bothers me is like I'll always see my friends, my musician friends, promote their posts, and they'll show up in my thing. And I'm like,
and it'll say promoted post.
Promoted. And I'm like, I hope that does well for you.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
What about something that, like your original? Because you're working on a couple songs right now.
Right.
But something that you like really just love, and it's for the love of the game.
For love of the game. So here's the thing: the covers and the mashups. That's the work part of my work.
That's your 9 to 5.
The originals are my passion. This is what I care about. So those I put a lot of thought process on how to market. So put out lyric videos, put out professional music videos, organize a strategy of how I'm going to post stories about it, maybe implement it in some videos as background. You know what I mean?
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
Yeah.
And then, you know, utilize other platforms. One thing I've noticed is Twitter, like, and you probably have this too, like a lot of celebrities have tweeted some covers I've done of their songs. Like I had Taylor Swift tweet one, Florida Georgia Line, Gavin DeGraw.
He should tell you the Taylor Swift story.
Well, if you've ever seen my show, you've probably heard it.
We can get that one on the next vlog.
That's another video. But I'm amazed at how ineffective a tweet is.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've experienced this, but like Gavin DeGraw tweeted about my cover of Not Over You a long time ago. Didn't really do that much, and he had a lot of followers. Florida Georgia Line, they did a tweet, and they did a whole campaign where they pushed it on Instagram, stories, Facebook, and that did help some. But you'd be amazed at how ineffective tweets are.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're obviously very successful in music. What do you credit a lot of that to?
Well, God.
Okay, the big man.
The big man upstairs. And then consistency, work ethic. I grew up playing sports, so my dad is like he's Coach Ward.
Right.
So he's like, you want to win? You want to be your best.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to win and I want to be my best in music. And what I've realized is most musicians that I run into are much more talented than I am.
Yeah.
Like incredibly gifted, but they just don't understand work hard. Like working hard or work ethic or consistency.
Smart.
Yeah, working smart. So thinking about what you're gonna do and then executing it well.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, what about you though? Like,
same thing. I believe that my career is a God-given thing, and I feel like I'm on the right path. But it's also a mixture of working hard and working smart. So I agree with you there. I think, yeah, I agree.
And so younger, actually, if I was going to talk to a 10 years younger Tyler, I would also tell him that do your touring because you love it and you experience it, but that's not where you're going to find your rest and your peace and your excitement.
Right.
It's getting off the road and just doing what you're doing now.
Right.
But I kind of love the touring side of it.
Right.
And it establishes credibility. But yeah, man, that's the idea of working hard and not smart.
Yes, because that's a lot of grind.
It's a lot of grind.
A lot of expenses, a lot of that.
When it makes sense, if you have a single and it's top 10 in the U.S. or something like that, then it makes sense.
Yep.
So
maybe at our level, what we do, it diminishing returns there.
Especially since Twitter's not so powerful.
So effective. One thing, and this is my next question. So one thing I used to do before I would tour, I would put, and I came up with this idea. I would put out surveys on Facebook, on my Facebook fan page, and I'd say, hey, where do you want me to go? And they could add their city and they'd vote. Yeah. And I would base my tour off of that.
Did it help?
It helped so much. Like Atlanta at the time and Detroit were my biggest cities. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And I played shows there and they were like sold out and it was really big and awesome. Any kind of tricks or things that you've done along the way?
Very similar to that.
Yeah.
Just ask, request, hey, where do you guys want to see me? And again, it's very similar. It helps. I found cities. One of my biggest cities was in Germany. And is in Germany, or not even a city, but the country of Germany.
And then you did a record deal in Germany.
Did a record deal in Germany, and I had no idea until probably 2 years when I just like keep getting these German like comments and retweet by what, and you look at your analytics, it's like in Germany. You're like, oh my gosh! So that in Brazil, and I haven't even hit Brazil yet.
Yeah, come to Brazil.
Yeah,
it's like always the number one comment.
So, yeah, I mean analytics are important. So Landon's so interesting. He's so you're numbers driven.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you love analytics.
Yeah.
You love looking at the back end.
Right.
You love analyzing and studying and finding trends.
Right.
And when that makes sense to you, then you execute.
Yes.
And until it makes sense to you, you won't execute.
Exactly.
Correct?
That's why I daily check the Spotify backend because they have really good trending reports of where it's being played and things are doing well. And you can see trends in your own music about what's catching. Yeah. Like you can see what your audience likes and what gets picked up.
And so that I feel like that's what sets you apart from most musicians. Because you're obviously a musician, you love music, you love recording, you love creating, but you're doing it smart. You have both sides of the brain. I mean, you studied business. You didn't study music.
Right. This is a little bit even deeper, but like, I get to the point where I'm writing a song, I'm thinking, you know what? I want to get it played more. I need to write a shorter song. Because if it's on a playlist, if it's too long, it's going to be less plays. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you a question. So for me, I'm on the other side of it where it's like, I finally feel like I don't have to live in that headspace and I can just make art.
Right.
So very feeler right now.
Right.
And it's more for me than it is for the other people.
Right.
And I understand the job, the 9 to 5. Like I'm going to start doing covers probably in a couple months, but right now I'm on this original kick, and I'm like, I don't care what I put out.
Right.
Like I put out a song, Circus and Churches, and it was more just,
Right.
And so where do you draw? Like where do you find the balance of like doing you versus worrying about the numbers?
Well, for me, it's 50-50. 50% of what I do in music is I want to make a living. I want to do stuff I enjoy, but this is a grind. It's very much a 9 to 5. And I treat it like that. So if I'm doing a cover or a mashup, I strategize, hey, what song's going to do well? What do I think my audience is going to like? How long should it be? What playlist can I get it on? That kind of thing. So the other half is my original songs. That's where my passion is. That's where my heart is. That's when I write a song that's for me. Yeah. And so a lot of my original music is not at all like what my audience listens to.
Oh, hey, guys.
So a lot of my original stuff, it's more for me than for my audience. Just because you get to a point where it's like you can only grind 9 to 5 so much before you lose your mind. A lot of people at this point will change career paths, at least in our generation, whatever. And it's like, I want to be in music, but I want to do stuff that I love. So when I write original songs, that's for me. That's the same thing. And I don't do as much like numbers hacking or strategizing. I more do what's going to make me happy.
That's great.
You know what I mean? Because you need that. You need that fulfillment in your music. Because you don't get into music because you want to make a bunch of money or, you know, you get into
it for the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
Yeah.
You get into music because it's your passion.
Yeah.
You have a good story of someone recognizing you in public. Like we go out. We go out, hang out a lot, and you get recognized on a regular basis. Do you have a good experience or a funny experience from that?
Yeah, so
I love the giggle.
So I was actually gonna. Can it be at a show though?
It could be anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was at a show and it was Okay, so in Tour they have green rooms, and it blocks off a restroom specifically for the artist, and so I went to go use the bathroom. And then all of a sudden they opened that bathroom to the public while I was chilling, you know, on my phone. And then all of a sudden homegirl comes and sits right next to me in the stall. So I lift up my legs, and then another girl sits the other side of me, and they're friends. And then I start hearing like noises drop into the toilet.
No.
Yeah, and I was like,
were you in a girl's bathroom?
well, because they blocked it off for our band.
Oh.
And then they opened it up like probably 30 minutes before the show started.
And they were there to see you, and they didn't.
And so then they went up, and here's the problem. They went up and they started talking, and I was like, I've got to go on stage. And I'm like this, and they're at the front, and they're blah, 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 and I was like, I can't hold my legs much longer, and I got to get on stage. So I opened the door, I just walked out, and I just did one of these, and they were like, we just did a number 2 in front of the dude we came to see.
Oh.
What about you though? What about you? What's a fun?
There was a time when I got recognized a little more. Now it's like maybe once a month.
Okay.
Maybe.
But you
if I go to a mall. But it's so rare.
But you were recognized, which is crazy to me, which is kind of
from YouTube.
You were recognized by Taylor Swift.
Okay, that's another story.
Okay, another story.
So, the funniest one, a couple years ago, I was crossing the street in Nashville, going to Fido, and this car slams on its brakes and almost runs me over. And I'm like hobbling to the other side of the street, like about to pull my inhaler out, like I'm gasping for air. So struggling. And about 30 seconds later, I get a tweet, and it says, I almost killed Landon Austin. And I was like, thank you for not killing me. That would have been terrible.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so that's my favorite one ever.
I love that.
What is the song you're most proud of, and which is the song that has generated the most income?
Wow. Okay, song I'm most proud of is a song I wrote called The Rescue. Okay. And it did really, really well. Didn't really translate on Spotify or digital streaming, but it did on video. And then the song that is my most profitable tune currently is an original. This month, though, it just surpassed, which is awesome. The Hardest Thing is what it's called. But my most generated, my most song that... What is it called?
All-time profitable.
All-time profitable song is probably Teenage Dream.
No way.
Yeah.
Did it do really well on iTunes? Did it do well on Spotify?
It still does well. It still does well everywhere.
You know, I haven't heard your version, but that original is my favorite pop song of all time. So I get it. That's a good song.
Yeah.
I imagine you put the Tyler Wood touch on it, crush.
Oof.
It did crush.
Oh. I had like a buzzed hair. It was a little bit poofier, and I was like...
Well, you had a little facial scruff going?
No, dude. I had just a little
oh, weight, you were poofier.
Weight in the cheeks.
Okay. So you probably had a bigger diaphragm, so you were like really hitting those notes. I get it. I get it vision now. I like him playing in my head what this sounds like right now. Like you got a little acoustic guitar, some soft vocals, some light harms. Maybe you have a girl in the background singing it. I don't know. I got you pegged, bro.
I got you pegged. You do the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like doing the YouTube research last night. I went to this whole and went to Spotify, and I just keep seeing. I saw 3 Landon Austin collabs on the Spotify acoustic playlist. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And Julia Shear from like 4 or 5 years ago. Like 2013.
Yep.
And it's you and her, and it's like everything's changed.
Yeah, that song's been doing well.
And that song crushes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you ever get Julia Shear on a collab, she always just crushes.
She's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Good look, great voice, all that stuff.
Yeah, she's killing it.
So, yeah, it's funny how it's a song that's like 5 years old that just blows up randomly, because that song, it took a couple years to do well. The first 2 years, it didn't do anything.
So talk about this then. That's probably part of the reason you didn't want to sell your catalog. Or,
I know.
Sorry. Part of the reason it's hard for you to want to sell your catalog is because you don't know what's going to
hit. You never know 5 years from now if one of your old songs is going to do well. And one of these songs can get picked up by Sirius. Like I had a song picked up by Sirius years later.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
It's wild.
It's awesome. But
I love that there's someone else who does what I do in Nashville. I feel like we're the only two who do it though.
Right. And I think when we first hung out, that's the reason we clicked. We spent like 3 hours at a coffee because we had this same conversation, but it wasn't being filmed. I was like, okay, someone who gets what I do in a similar space. And
yeah, I could teach him to wear cool jeans.
Yeah, you taught me a cooler style. But thank you, Tyler, for being in the video with me and talking about this. As always, it's fun. So
go follow me on Twitter so you can make a difference.
Yeah, you want to shout out to my 100?
Tyler Ward Music. Just search for it.
Just Google it. You'll find it.
Yeah. Just don't look me up on.
There's 2 Tyler Wards though, so look for this one. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. One more thing before you go, thank you so much for watching this 3-part interview with my buddy Tyler. If you missed the first 2 videos, I'll link them down below. He's an awesome guy. I appreciate him doing this with me. It was really fun talking to him. And lastly, this series was brought to you by my company. It's called Noisely.com. And what we do is we license music for wedding videos, corporate videos. If you have a podcast that needs music or a website that has videos on it that need music, you can license it all there. We have an awesome roster of artists, independent and label acts, really top-notch music, so make sure you check them out. And lastly, if you want to be an artist on the site, you can go to noise.com, click contact, and submit your music there over email. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.